I sold my last restaurant about 5 years ago, and I opened up a butcher shop, and I do wholesale. I always did sausage throughout my life. That was something that my family did. There was two things. Just a quick little story. I mean, this is the simplest. Everybody uses that word, charcuterie, charcuterie. When I was coming up as a young cook and a chef, I worked in French and Italian restaurants, some German restaurants. In every kitchen, there was certified, skilled chefs at each position. The saucier was trained for that. Each kitchen had a butcher, had its own butcher, had their own pastry chefs, had their own saucier, poissonnier. Each one of these guys had their own degrees, their own certifications, and were professionals in their own right, in their specific technique or their specific skill. You'll be lucky to find a trained chef in any of these restaurants anymore. One. You'll be lucky to find one trained chef in a restaurant anymore. Anyhow, it was lucky for me because that was how I was able to acquire the skills that I have now. Everywhere I went, I worked with the butcher. Each one of them had their own pate recipe, their own campagne, their own confit recipe, their own sausage recipe, their own, saucisson sec. Each one of them had it. So I was just lucky enough to just go along the way. I worked with Wolfgang Puck and Ma Maison, Jamie Stachowski from the Patina Group, Claude Healy, John Louis Paladin, worked at the Perigord, New York. So each way along the way, I'm a guy from Buffalo, so the shop was cool in the shed, maybe not, but I did pay attention to the butchers and all those skills, and so that's what I have. And so after I learned all those things, all of a sudden, here come the 80s. I started cooking in 1976. Here come the 80s, and see you later, French fries. Along comes the Italian cuisine and California cuisine, so it was all about fried calamari. There's three things that will never cross my lips again. Calamari, balsamic vinegar, and sun-dried tomatoes. I mean, it's coming out my ears. We did so much. So it was the Italian thing and all. So all this stuff that I learned was just like, never used. We just didn't use it. I mean, Carol Cutler wrote a book in the 80s about pâtés, but other than that, Okay, so then come the early thousands, aughts or whatever, and protein gets really expensive. Protein gets super expensive. Some of you, I'm sure folks here might remember, your average restaurant here in Washington had 5 steaks. Every restaurant had 5 center-cut steaks. You had to have a New York. You got to have a fillet. Well, if you have a fillet, you got to have the man fillet and the petite fillet for the ladies, right? You have the big fillet and the 9-ounce lady fillet. So then now there's 3. Then there'd be prime rib night, and you got to have a chop, big veal chop. So every restaurant had these steaks all over the place. Every restaurant, you didn't have to be a steakhouse. All the menus had that. Okay, fast forward again. Protein's too expensive. You find a steak on a menu if you're not in the steakhouse. If you're not in the steakhouse, find a steak. No, you won't find. You find hanger steak. You'll find this. Maybe it's smart. We're all eating a lot less. But so you can't serve two double lamb chops. You got to serve one. So you start to supplement the protein on a place. You augment it with other work products, smoked shoulders that you roll, that you work. That's all this charcuterie is. It's these advanced butchering and cooking techniques. The one we have here today is the simplest of those. The best, in my opinion. Everybody does sausage. Everybody makes sausage. It's so recognizable, but also what transpires with sausage is not only lots of flavor, but there's a history. I'm Polish. We make kielbasa. That's a Polish sausage. I go back to Poland, I go anywhere around Warsaw, and they'll recognize this recipe. Same with the Italian sausage that you taste, the Nuremberg sausage that you taste. The French would work with duck sausage in the Perigord region. So this to me it's very simple, very basic charcuterie. But to me, it's the most fantastic, and it's the one thing I love to do. I love making sausage. Jokes aside, I just love it.